so I know we're all really ready to get out of here, but bear with me for 5 more minutes. I'd just like to go over some voting issues, or basically some key reasons why my partner and I believe you can walk out of that door at the end of this round and confidently vote with the government team. The first voting issue is that of national security, the second is that of the plans, and the third is that of the justifications. So let's go ahead and jump right into that first voting issue of national security. Now this is the value that I presented at the very beginning of the round in my very first speech that has gone uncontested throughout the entire round. So basically what we have to do is look at every single argument and see, does it actually uphold national security? And when we do that, we can see that it falls to the side of the government. The only way to really uphold national security is to enact the plan that the government team has proposed. We're promoting national security, whereas the opposition team's plan really does nothing. We're going to be looking at that a little bit more under the voting issue of the plans. But the one point I'd like to make here is that it's a little absurd to believe our military isn't doing anything to find these kidnapped children. That's like saying someone's a tennis player, but they're not playing tennis. It's absurd to believe that our military is doing nothing to protect the children from the United States and other countries that have been kidnapped. This is something that we can believe and we can know is happening because of the way that our military works. And the next point I'd like to talk about is how this is really giving in to terrorists, and this is giving into their methods. But honestly, all that we're doing is covering our bases. We're making sure that everybody within the United States is being kept safe. Because in the status quo, and even under the opposition team's plan, that is not happening. You're not promoting national security. In fact, you are promoting terrorists' methods. Next, they talked about limiting freedom of speech, and I just want to talk about this under this voting issue. I've got a couple of responses. The first is that of legal precedent. Brendan talked in his last speech about Section 201 of the Patriot Act and how it only applies to people who are in danger. My first response is everybody is in danger. ISIS is a danger to everybody within the United States. ISIS has explicitly stated that everyone within the United States is a target. This isn't just the military families. They're the ones in this scenario, but they're not the only ones in danger. Social media proves to be a major problem to everyone within the United States. They are actually within danger. They are under this legal precedent. Additionally, we have other ways of tracking these criminals within the United States. Under the Patriot Act, you can wiretap phones, you can look emails. There are a lot of other ways. We don't need to be endangering American citizens in order to look for these terrorists. There are a lot of other ways that we can actually use. Next, they talked about how we're limiting our access to these criminals, but guess what else we're doing? We're limiting these terrorists' access to their hit lists and other information that gives them their targets. That's what we're doing. We are keeping the people of America safe and promoting our national security. We are taking the weapon of the terrorists and making sure they cannot hurt our people. Ultimately, we are promoting national security, and in order to uphold national security, the only way we vote is with the government. I'll be showing you why under the next 2 voting issues. The first is that of the plans. The first issue here is that of the opposition plan being non-unique. Everything within their plan has actually happened within the status quo. Military members have been told, do not put this information on Facebook. Yet, we have these targets. They've talked about finding these children. It is absurd to believe our military is not doing this in the status quo. And they talked about warning those parents. This has been done. We have warned these parents. It's absolutely absurd to believe that we haven't. But the next argument I'd like to make here is that because this House is defined as the United States federal government and not actually as the president or the chief of staff of the military, the government or the opposition team does not have the power or the enforcement for their plan because they agreed to our definition of this
Point of
House.
order, go ahead and stop. I do believe that that's new. Sorry.
That actually might be the argument. Go ahead and start back from the bowl. I'm super sorry about that. I did not realize. So let's go ahead and move on to the next argument. That there's really not a ton of thing into this. The opposition team's plan really won't work because a lot of it is happening in the status quo. It's absurd to believe that our military isn't taking steps to find these children. This is something that we can stand foundationally on in today's family. This is happening. There's no reason to believe that we're not looking for these 200 missing children. That would be ridiculous of the United States government to say there's 200 missing children out there and we're not going to do anything about it some days afterward. So ultimately what we need to look at is how we can cover all of our bases and promote national security and protect the people within the United States who are still in danger and who are still potential targets for ISIS. The only way to do that is to shut down these social media sites. Now I want to get into that final voting issue about the justifications. Now a lot of our justifications were never really directly addressed by the opposition team. The first is that of the protection of these military members. This is a major point in today's favor. Right now, these are military members that are being targeted, and we have to take steps to protect them. But we also have to protect the rest of our country. And that goes into that second justification about how we are diminishing the terrorists' influence. They have a multitude of influence through additional advantages. Those talked about those harmful byproducts of social media. We're not saying that this is the reason to shut down social media, but these are some additional advantages that will be achieved in addition to protecting the people of America and promoting our national security. Thank you.